Good evening, friends. We're back again, reading passages from Avodat Hashem, Inner Work. I'm on a trip right now, but I'm still wanting to dive into these beautiful teachings. Page 139. God has only one desire, not two desires. The one desire is to bestow goodness. So when we talk about God really has no desires, but for our sake, God has one desire, and that one desire is to bestow goodness, to give the light of the divine, the gift of experiencing the divine to creation. It is the one, so to speak, desire that God has. There is no need that God has. God doesn't need to give the light. So that's why I say, so to speak, because a desire informs us of a lack, and there is no lack in God. There is only fullness, but that fullness, for our sake, has a desire to give to us an experience of that fullness. Basically, all day long we think about what we can do for ourselves. All 24 hours revolve around this. This needs to be the opposite. To wake up in the morning and think, quote, what can I do for others, unquote. So yeah, all day long we're thinking about what we can do for ourselves. Even when it appears like we're giving to others, there's still some aspect of that giving which is for ourselves. All 24 hours revolve around this, and this needs to be the opposite. We need to wake up in the morning and think, what can I do for others? How can I be a giver? How can I support others? How can I share with others? How can I offer something to others that they need? How can I extend my attention and awareness outside of myself and my own needs to those of others around me? And when I see those others, I see God, and so I'm serving God when I serve them. So how can I serve God through others? How can I give to God by giving to others? Because others are an extension of God. So this is what our focus needs to be. Filling ourselves with emunah, with embodied faith, to know that God is everything and everyone. And at the same time, seeing how can I give to others, looking around in the world, looking at others, and looking for opportunities to give, rather than looking for opportunities to get, to receive, which is generally what our default tendency is. Awareness of our disconnection from God enables us to be brought close to God. This is the way we progress spiritually. So again, once we look around and we see in the world how everyone is asleep, and we see that we are included in that everyone, and we see that we look at the world and it feels like a mundane, normal, quote-unquote normal place, and we see, oh wow, this means I am far from God. When I look around and I see things as normal and mundane, this means I'm not seeing and feeling God. This means I'm feeling far from God. I'm disconnected from God. So this is the sign that we call out and we pray to Creator to help us. We pray. That's why awareness of our disconnection enables us to be brought close to God, because once we recognize that we're disconnected, it's already a gateway, it's already a portal to coming close to God. So then we can say, please, Creator, please, Spirit, help me feel you. Help me come close to you. I can see and feel that I'm disconnected right now. I can see and feel that I'm far from you. I'm not feeling you as I walk through the world. So I can pray to help, to the divine, to help me feel the divine. So that is why this recognition and this awareness of disconnection, this is the way we progress spiritually. This is how we come close to God, by recognizing the disconnection and the distance that we're currently experiencing. The more we feel distant from God, the more we feel in need of God's help. Then we are able to receive the divine light of Emunah. So, same thing, same teaching as the previous passage, just in a slightly different variation. The more we feel distant from God, when we feel that, we look around and we feel and see that we're not feeling God, so thus we are feeling distant and disconnected. The more then we feel that we need God's help, right? That's why we cry out to the Creator. That's why we cry out to Spirit to help us. So the more we feel distant, the more we feel in need. Then we are able to receive the divine light of Emunah, right? So then, through our crying out for help, we're able to receive the divine light of Emunah. Even, right? Because once we cry out, once we see and notice that we're experiencing the mundane reality, we're not experiencing the divine, we feel disconnected, we feel distant, and we call out, we say, oh, I really need God's help in order to feel close. I need God's help. I need the light, the divine light of Emunah, in order to feel close to God, in order to feel and experience the divine and the sacred in this moment. So then I call out and cry out for help, pray to Spirit for help, and that is when we're able to receive the divine light of Emunah, this embodied faith that helps us to live inside of God, even if we're not necessarily feeling it. We can still think, speak, and act as if we were feeling it. Even though it hurts to discover the extent of our self-centeredness, we cannot develop spiritually without this awareness. Even though it hurts to discover the extent of our self-centeredness, we cannot develop spiritually without this awareness. So it hurts to see how self-centered we are. It hurts when we're trying to be close to God. We're trying to be givers, and then we see how self-centered we are, how oriented we are to self-serving pleasure. It hurts. It can hurt. And when it hurts, that's a good sign, because that's a sign that we're wanting to be in another state. We're wanting to be in a state of unity consciousness rather than separate self-consciousness. We're wanting to be givers rather than receivers. So it can hurt, but that hurt is good, and in fact we can't develop spiritually without that hurt. We can't develop spiritually without that, both that awareness of the extent of our self-centeredness and the hurt that comes from it. Those are vital experiences and energies that we need in order to develop spiritually. The vessel of wisdom is silence. Hakli l'chokhmah hashtika. The vessel of wisdom is silence. A lot of different truths that can be drawn from that. The vessel of wisdom is silence. One who is wise doesn't speak. One who is wise knows when to speak and when not to speak. One who is wise knows when to stay quiet. One who is wise generally does stay quiet because they're not speaking frivolously. They're not using words frivolously. The vessel of wisdom is silence also, is that a silent mind is a wise mind. When the mind is full of thoughts, it's in the past or it's in the future. It's not in the present moment. A silent mind is in the present moment. The present moment is where wisdom is. So we're also seeking a silent mind, which is a peaceful mind. Peaceful mind that is present and is full of being and essence, rather than caught in thoughts that are taking one out of the present moment. So the vessel of wisdom is silence. Final passage for tonight. The concept of surrendering to God is only relevant when something is not as we want it to be. The concept of surrendering to God is only relevant when something is not as we want it to be. So, we are wanting to be connected to God and we're not. We're wanting to feel God's love and we don't. It's not how we want it to be. How we're moving through the world, the reality that we're experiencing is not how we want it to be. Thus, the concept of surrender is actually relevant. The concept of surrendering to God is thus relevant, because things are not as we want them to be. If they were as we wanted them to be, then the concept of surrender to God would not be relevant. If we felt, blissful and wonderful and great, if we felt totally at peace in the matrix and the default reality, then surrendering to God is not a relevant concept at all. It's only a relevant concept when we recognize that we're not where we want to be. There's a sense of where we want to be, there's a sense of how we want to be, and we're not there. And so then the concept of surrendering to God becomes relevant. Okay, friends, thanks for joining me on my travels.